Welcome back to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 34. We got kind of a classic episode here because for the first time in over a month, we do not have a guest today. We did technically have someone, but they kind of backed out today, which is, it's all good. That happens. It's our first back out of 2022. It won't be the last. We'll try to get some last minute replacements, but that's okay. We have enough to talk about here. It's not going to be a super, super long podcast tonight. It usually isn't when it's just Eric and I, but we do have some stuff we need to talk about. Like, we have to have this podcast just because one thing that happened today. Now, I am your host, as always, Nathaniel Rumpfel Janc. That's a hyphenated last name. I said it slow. Hopefully you guys understood me. To my left and your guys' right is my one and only co-host, Mr. Eric Moore.
Hello, everybody.
Woo!
Yeah.
I gotta start getting some sound effects in for that. Like, yeah, clapper.
Yeah.
Let's go, Eric Moore. Whoa, yeah. All right, guys. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun today because boy, oh boy, do we have some stuff to talk about when it comes to a certain new game coming out in March for Nintendo Switch, an exclusive game that's looking bad ass. Now, before we do that, what have we been playing lately? That's a good question. So, have you been playing anything besides what you just played today?
No.
So, all Eric's been doing is getting his ass mostly kicked in Madden. Some of you guys saw it.
Yes, you did.
On Twitch, because I forgot to turn off one of my league streams. I got my ass kicked on that stream too. So, I kind of just followed the theme of getting our ass kicked.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was playing some Madden, otherwise obviously super, super busy. Plus, there hasn't been a lot of like big Switch stuff at least coming out lately. We're kind of waiting. Legends Arceus is around the corner, guys.
Yeah, it
16 days from at least the time that we are doing this live.
Yes.
16 days. Dude, can you believe it's almost here?
Holy crap.
Are you not hyped?
Yeah, actually, I'm actually thinking about actually picking it up.
Have you been seeing some of the commercials and trailers they've been dropping? It's like every day there's like a new one.
No, I haven't really been paying attention to that.
Yeah, between the TPC and Nintendo, they've been dropping like new stuff like daily.
That's crazy. But no, I've actually thought about picking this up, even though my relationship with Pokemon has kind of gone out the window. But this one might be just far enough outside of the quote unquote norm that
that's the way a lot of people feel, actually. And I think this is the one that's got an opportunity to bring a lot of people back to Pokemon that just got kind of sick of the monotony, sick of some of the lack of changes or the changes they were making. Sick of it not advancing beyond basically what it was, 25 years ago? I mean, guys, we're not saying that obviously that Pokemon's bad. If you guys love Pokemon the way it is, it's cool. But like, if you just think about like top-down Zelda, okay, we still get those and they're wonderful, but it transitioned into a full 3D world, and then obviously now open world. So we've seen transitions with that. We've seen Mario go through similar transitions. A new game coming out is going through that transition now, finally. And Pokemon was always kind of that game that just never really made that full transition. Just kept doing the same thing in similar ways. Some fresh ideas, of course. And obviously Sword and Shield added some open world elements, but still didn't really have like that full, at least in my opinion, it still felt like it was still kind of based around a top-down style of gameplay anyways, even though it was slightly more angled to make it look more 3D.
2.5D?
I don't know.
Yeah, 2 or 3
I mean, it is 3D. It's 3D models. It's just, it wasn't like a full commitment to it, and this feels like a full commitment to it and actually doing something different. So finally, Pokemon's doing it.
Yeah.
Super, super
Everybody's
excited.
Breath of the Wilding everything.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild everything. I mean, I know it's a common comparison, and people get really sick of us saying, "Oh my God, everything that's doing any sort of openness is Breath of the Wild." Well, guys, when we say, like, at least when I say that this game, like Sonic Frontiers, oh my gosh, it's Breath of the Wild in Sonic. Although Sonic's actually had games that's attempted this before, so.
But to be fair on that one, they almost went shot for shot for
they totally
of Breath of the Wild when their trailer.
By the way, they did that with Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yes,
when they unveiled the trailer. They did shot for shot with the Zelda trailer. The thing is, when I say it though, it's not just about, oh my gosh, it's open world. Every open world game isn't Breath of the Wild.
Right.
It is the ambition of the game. Because Breath of the Wild was a very ambitious game for Zelda. It did a lot of things that Zelda either has never done or hasn't done since Zelda 1. So it's been a long time. So it was a very ambitious game for Nintendo and a risk. Big risk. Releasing a Zelda game that doesn't have dungeons? That's a big risk.
Right.
Relying on mini shrines and Like, it's just, having all the story be through memories and breakable items, and it was a risky game for them. It could have went bad. It didn't. Obviously, became the best-selling Zelda game of all time. And yeah, likewise, Pokemon Legends Arceus is a risk. It might pay off, and it might not. One thing I do want to talk about. Well, you know what? We'll save that for the bonus topic because we only really have one topic for today, but I have a bonus topic to talk about that actually involves Legends Arceus. That's appropriate.
Okay.
So what have I been playing lately? Well, I just got done playing a game we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Guys, for the first ever time in podcast history, both the old podcast and the new one, we got a sponsor for this show today. But we'll get to that sponsor in a little bit. But yeah, I was playing that game, so I'm not going to talk about that game yet until we get to our sponsorship segment. Yet. I can tell you guys, if you're listening to this live, we do have a full featured video coming on this game tomorrow, but if you're listening to the audio version or listening to this after it was live, then that video is already out on the main channel, so go check it out. I really appreciate when any company wants to try to work with us on anything, so this is kind of a special thing, and for them to specifically say we want to do a separate thing with the podcast, not just your channel, we want to do a podcast mention, we want to sponsor an episode, that to me is special because this podcast was literally the foundation of us doing YouTube content at Nintendo Prime. Started as a podcast. For those who don't know, like literally us Nintendo Prime journey to what we are today started right here behind some microphones. Eric and I chilling. So it's really cool that
many different rooms of your house.
It's really cool that like an original concept that started everything actually has someone who wants to sponsor it. So, but yeah. So besides that game, it's been interesting. So I picked up my Switch today, right here. What you guys saw me do in that video today, and I've actually been playing a little bit of stuff on it. Nothing too insane. Just basically some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with my kids. You might go, why not play some other games? I have other games and games I haven't completed yet. I'm still in that transition phase where right now I am focusing a lot on the channel. Less I'm playing games on Switch. Doesn't mean I'm not playing games. I'm playing Madden. I was playing Age of Empires 4 earlier today as well.
That game.
So like, I'm still gaming. I'm just not gaming as much as I could with the free time I have because I'm in a transition period with the YouTube channel. We are entering a new year. Cool. Happy New Year, 2022. And this isn't our second episode in the new year. So there's some stuff happening behind the scenes. Obviously, I've already announced and will continue to remind people that we are going to be bringing back our E3 show this year. Even if there is no E3, we don't actually know if E3 is going to go with a digital show yet. I wouldn't suspect they would announce it for a month or two.
I would assume they would, but
who knows?
Yeah,
I would think they'd want to because they don't want to be forgotten. But also, last year's show was really bad, but it doesn't mean it can't get better. Yeah, right. Like I thought the first year of Summer Game Fest was really bad. And then last year was a hell of a lot better. Now we already know Summer Game Fest is coming back. So this is why I can say we're having a show no matter what, because we were already going to expand it to include Summer Game Fest. So if it ends up just being a Summer Game Fest show, well, that's totally fine. We'll do a Summer Game Fest show, do the same thing we did before, stream the whole damn thing, and have our own little pre-show, post-show, our own little activities, our own little tournaments built around it, and do, the shitloads of giveaways.
Wheel of Death.
Can already tell you we're giving away some Skull and Company accessories during that, so that's gonna be fun. So we're already starting to get some of those giveaway items already put together, and the thing's not for a while. So you guys remember how crazy the show was last year? It's gonna be even crazier this year because I have more time to plan it. Hopefully a lot less stressful because I have more time to plan it as well.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice, but we'll see. It might feel like everything's going good, then something bad happens right before the show, and then we're in panic mode. So camera dies again. That would really suck if it just decided to conk out right before the show. I'd be like, oh yeah, let me just come up with $1,500 out of nowhere. But that's okay. We are bringing that show back, but there's other things at the channel that I'm still sorting through. I threw out there as an example today on some polls what people thought if I started incorporating more general gaming news into my Monday through Friday show. If you guys don't know, I try to put out like a news video Monday through Friday. That's like a recap of news from like the last day. And it's usually featuring Nintendo stuff. The thing is, Nintendo news is really dry right now. We are in probably the driest period of Nintendo news since I started doing those videos. And it's made me realize there's a number of big stories that we just haven't been covering. that are coming from other places. Like the fact that Horizon Forbidden West PlayStation 4 version is fully leaked. Like that's a huge story. And we just didn't talk about it because it didn't make sense on a Nintendo channel. But then I kept thinking, I don't want people to think that if I'm covering those stories, there's not going to be Nintendo stories in there. Yes, we're going to have Nintendo stories in those videos too. Also, I think I realized if I go this route, I'm going to start trying my best to bust out the bigger news as soon as it happens. As an example, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, everybody.
Oh, wait.
Got a trailer today that revealed the release date. It was a big trailer. Got to finally see what this game is all about. And boss fights. And we'll get into that in a moment because that's our big topic today. The big thing is, under the circumstance where I'm adding the other stuff to the news video that day, there will be additional videos where, the Kirby and the Forgotten Land trailer just dropped. I'm getting a reaction video out to that, like literally within the first half hour of that trailer dropping and just getting it out. Like, boom, one of the first ones up there. Here's the trailer. Let's watch it again. Let's react to it. Watch it again. React to it. Cool. Call it good. We'll talk about it more later. And then I'll mention that trailer came out in the general video, but it won't be like a lead headline because obviously we've already done a standalone video. So there will still be a focus on Nintendo is what I'm saying. We're not going to get rid of that. So it's just kind of a way for me to fill out the news with more news that's bigger and better.
Especially with,
and then,
like you said, Nintendo not being...
Yeah, and when Nintendo's having heavy news cycles, it's not like they're not going to dominate that show anyways.
Right.
Honestly, this actually goes against what my MCN tell me to do. They're like, dude, don't do any more than a video a day. Well, MCN, I'm going to just say this. I've been doing it your way for 2 months, and all I've seen is my views per video have not been increasing. The viewership of the channel's been going down. Everything's been going down. We've been getting less subscribers, less this, less that. Now, some of that's because we got hacked in October, but also, I think some of it is that our channel works a certain way. I know you can have up to 3 videos per 24-hour period that will send notifications out. I appreciate the MCN's feedback. I'm not so sure they understand how my channel had been functioning all of last year. Where we would have that video, but then also have other quick news videos out for like big topics that needed to get out right away throughout the day. So yeah, we're going to return to doing that. Maybe not as frequently, some days we have like 5 videos. That's insane. But I can say this, I will be able to dedicate more time to it here this spring. So we'll see what happens from there. All right. Shall we get into our big topic today?
Heck yeah.
I think it's time. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm excited for this. Are you excited for this, Eric?
100%.
Oh, man. I'm going to get goosebumps. So they dropped a new trailer today, and of course, we've got to watch this trailer. We're going to watch it with you guys live here. Here we go. Let's do this thing. Let's play this trailer. Let's see what happens. We'll pause it as we go here, too. Where, maybe.
Yeah, if you can find your mouse.
Where's my...
And you can hit the space bar.
I don't have the space bar working.
Yeah, right.
Oh, there's the mouse.
Oh, there it is. Found it.
Okay, so like there's one of the new abilities.
Yeah.
Like a whirlwind.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I like that. So like if you just go back and just kind of go through the trailer a little bit here. So they're finally on the star again. Yep. Soaring around. So first like kind of look at like a general landscape there. And I will say, like on these general landscape flybys, the world still looks empty.
Yeah.
But I wonder if, based on the gameplay part, if that just has to do with limitations on hardware, where like they can't show everything happening like until you're closer to it, popping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's anything to worry about that you guys see this as empty when he's flying around because like don't worry.
I just see cheese.
Cheese. Does look like cheese. No, we get his first sucking up, and then a wizard ability, which bombs. Throwing bombs. Bombs. And then a little cute little wolfie or whatever. Oh my God, so cute. So one thing that's obviously we've known about this world from the beginning is it is a post-apocalyptic world. We've known that since it's called the Forgotten Land, and you can see the overgrowth. You can see the human-like areas that have been abandoned.
I just noticed the wanted Kirby poster.
Wanted Kirby poster or something like that.
Kirby dead poster. I just
so there's another tornado ability there. The hammer's back, obviously. Oh, and this is showing like a Zelda like puzzle. Where you're hitting a switch and then opening up an entryway. Here's some New ability as well.
Nice little helmet.
Explosion, clearly. Oh, and this, guys, is co-op. It has at least co-op.
Yeah.
So you bet Eric and I will probably be doing some co-op stream. Maybe even day one, depends.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we can line that up. But yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's throwing the spear, flying around. Looks like a lot of fun. So obviously the basis of the game seems to be that some bad guys are capturing these dudes, and we're going to be saving them. And now I don't know who that. Okay, so this person here, I don't know what this character is that flies around with the Dumbo ears.
Okay,
but
it's a little mouse,
but it's kind of cool. I don't know if that's like 3 people playing or if it's just a Navi companion. If it looks like a Navi companion, look, you get some mini game action here. Looks like you're serving up characters as they come up. Fishing. Then we got Wise Waddle Dee here.
Yep.
Today's top trend is Sword. It's the most popular ability. And it says Nintendo Switch Online membership and Nintendo account required for online features. So there is online, I'm assuming online multiplayer or online multiplayer in terms of playing against people or maybe even online co-op, etc.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, that's great. Got little things you can collect there and little gotcha balls flying off together. Look at that. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on. That's a rewind.
Yeah.
That's a rewind.
That is
I mean, another kind of look at how big this world is and how varied it is.
Overworld that like those are the different levels that you get to fly.
I'm curious if it's fully open world.
Maybe.
And you just use the star to quick travel.
That would be, I mean, possible.
You know, I'm just wondering.
Or do you have like a home base and then you can jump to different levels via the star? And it's not quite, the overworld's not quite
because I'm guessing these little icons here are where you can drop in.
Yeah. I'm guessing each one of those are different levels. And I'm guessing you have like a home base and you can jump to each different level. Like the overworld isn't open world, quote unquote. But
what if it is
open enough that you can?
Yeah, but it still could be open world. And these are just like the towers.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's hard to know, obviously.
Right.
Because we haven't played it. We're just watching them zoom around, watching them drop into a place there. Oh, by the way, I just gotta say, I know that we've seen water like this in Mario, but I still like it. It's a very pretty.
It's a very, very pretty.
It's
water
a very pretty water
for a Kirby game.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because I've heard some things on the visuals for this game. Some people are like, why does Mario Odyssey look better than this game? Guys, it's a Kirby game. Okay, so Mario, one of the best-selling IPs of all time, the mascot for a multi-billion-dollar company with a new movie coming out. Oh my gosh, it has a bigger team making it and more money, so the game looks better. Oh man, Kirby that struggles to sell 2 million copies doesn't have the budget of Mario with the team of Mario behind it. Guys, can we be realistic? Kirby has never looked this good. And while it can look better, and even on Switch, it needs to prove it first. It needs to have a game that blows up like Breath of the Wild. Maybe not 25 million, but 5 million would be huge. 8 million would be 10. I mean, it does that. Oh, yeah, a sequel is going to have a lot bigger budget. Mm-hmm. This is one of those Kirby. We're just lucky that Kirby stays stuck around all this time. Mm-hmm. It does not sell well, but they keep making it because it's profitable because they don't spend a lot of money making Kirby games.
Right.
So there's a little drill. Oh, I love this ability. Yeah, drilling up and hit.
Yeah.
See collectibles. Get that mole. Kirby with the gun. With the gun. So we talked about this yesterday. It appeared in the ESRB rating. But yeah, dude, Kirby's got a gun in this game.
Kirby's got a gun.
Bam, bam.
Insane.
Fire charge blast thing.
Yeah.
Boss fights. I mean, this boss fight looks sweet.
Yeah, it does.
It does. That looks cool. It shows off one other one. Okay, so
this is sick,
dude. This is clearly entering some big city, abandoned city, rundown city, or something. Castle.
Yeah.
Dude, it looks badass. Like, the environments are so varied, right? Obviously, we have our tree-like, nature-y kind of stuff, but then we have this. This is dark.
Yeah, no, for sure.
For Kirby, this is dark.
Right.
And then this, entering some amusement world.
Yeah, right.
This is, by the way, on Switch OLED screen, that is going to pop so awesome. It's almost like they made this level just for Switch OLED.
That's definitely possible.
And then a desert. Land. What? I love the themes.
Yeah. No, for sure.
What was going on in the back? What was that enemy back there? Sorry.
What? Oh.
So you got a new enemy back here.
Well, that's interesting.
And some cactuses and obviously whatever abandoned building this is.
Oh, is that the gladiator thing that comes up here soon in the trailer?
Could be. I don't know.
There's
Meta Knight.
Yeah, it seems like there's a tournament.
So this reminds me, this was like, oh, it's Smash Bros.
Yeah, kind of.
We got Smash Bros in Kirby.
Dude.
But there's a tournament of something. There's a battle, a tournament going on.
They need to release this level in freaking Smash Bros.
It's like, yeah. But yeah, Meta Knight versus Kirby happening here with a crowd in the background. Okay, we don't know if this is a multiplayer thing or what.
Oh, God. They really need to release this level on Smash Bros. This level looks sick.
And then there's the new logo shot.
Yep.
Which, again, they chose a shot where the world does look empty behind it.
The top part looks kind of a little Minecrafty.
Yeah, right? But,
yeah.
You know, there's I can't remember. Then the release date.
Yeah, release date.
As you're chilling there with your friend. By the way, in like a little town where there's like a shop and all that stuff that we were saying before. So,
yeah.
3/25/2022.
It's Friday.
It is the March game to pair with Project Triangle Strategy, which comes out early in the month. This comes out late in the month.
Yeah.
So we know March this year is Triangle Strategy. This game. Was this the right choice to drop in March before the end of the fiscal year?
I don't see why not. I mean, what other game are they going to drop? I mean,
Splatoon 3?
3, yeah. I think you'd want to start out the
because I think Splatoon 3 is probably the one that's closest to being ready to go.
I think you're going to want to start the fiscal year with that one.
The new fiscal year?
Yeah.
I mean, because they ended last year's fiscal year with... Wait, no, not ended. Oh, yeah, they did. It was Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter Rise.
Yeah.
And they ended it, but they've been doing is they've been ending with a big one that also helps kick off the new year. Year before was Animal Crossing. They ended the fiscal year with it, but that also so big that it also kicked off the next fiscal year. I don't know that this is going to kick off the next fiscal year.
No,
but maybe it will.
Which then leads me to think that Splatoon 3 may be the fiscal year kickoff then.
Could. So like I look at something like this and I go, man, that's pretty badass.
No, for sure. And another point to that too is the combination of Triangle Strategy and this game.
Yes, for that month. That's a decent month. That's a decent month.
It's a decent closeout.
So
could be stronger, but it's a decent closeout.
Take a look at a few screenshots here. I mean,
these are just ridiculously.
And look at this. See, these screenshots were released by Nintendo. Like this, you can't tell me that's not going to look amazing on OLED. I mean, even OLED TVs, obviously, but oh man, I mean the train.
Yeah,
it's definitely got that amusement park feel to it. This is obviously a Ferris wheel back here. It looks good. Then another shot of the desert where the enemy's not up there anymore. It's attacking you or something right here.
Yeah, that's insane.
Strong R Beast Goramondo. I'm assuming this is one of the bosses, and you can see one of the captured guys that I think is which I think is the point of this game is to save all these little creatures.
Yep.
And there he is with a giant fist or spin or some sort of attack.
He's spinning,
and you can see it's obviously affecting the ground there.
Yeah.
You're in co-op mode. I do like how it's kind of like this artistic health bar. It can't be flat. It's gotta be slightly angled.
Yeah.
With the ranger and
same with those. Those are slightly.
So you got the ranger costume on, and then you got your partner with the bandana Waddle
Dee. Yep.
So
yeah,
that's kind of cool. Really so this is the UI is on here.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about this UI in battle, that's clean.
Yeah, no, it is.
That is a clean UI.
Absolutely.
I assume that this is the health bar.
Yeah,
but
I would assume so too.
That is a very clean UI. I like that. There's such a focus on what's happening in the middle, and it's not, sometimes like even Breath of the Wild can sometimes be, you can turn it off, but I'm someone that likes to actually know what's happening with my crap. But this is a very clean UI. I like
absolutely.
That. The Unfriendly Franz Tropic Woods. That's the name of this boss, I'm assuming.
Or no, that's
the
area.
The area. I don't know because the boss is right below it.
I'm guessing.
What if Unfriendly Franz is the name of the boss that's in Tropic Woods?
That could be it. Yeah.
Either way, we saw how these go underground, come up. He's got
a fire ability.
Ability there, which is probably really great against a tree.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I mean the boss fights look great. Here's close up snow level.
Yeah.
Shooting.
Yep.
Just with the anger look.
Is that like one of those little
serious
wolf things that they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's that looks like a new enemy.
And then obviously the drill up at the mole.
Yeah.
and kind of a islandly water. Actually, it's more like almost reminds me of like an oil
oil drill
factory out in the water. So that's kind of cool. And I'll be curious if you can because there's clearly stuff under the water. I wonder if you're able to go under the water in this game.
That would be interesting,
even if it takes an ability to do it. And then obviously showing Celebration.
Yep.
This is daytime now with that amusement park. So the lights are obviously, there's a roller coaster. Do we get to ride the coaster?
Dude, does time pass in this game?
Yeah, day and night. Definitely looks like there's a day-night thing going on. Day-night cycle.
That'd be insane.
Yeah, dude, it would be. Day-night cycle. That. Yeah, and here's just some more bunny enemy. I forgot what this one's called. I'm sorry, guys. My Kirby. I played a lot of Kirby games, but I don't play them to know what I'm attacking. I just beat the crap out of crap.
Yeah.
So sorry. It's not like Zelda where I would know the specific names of the enemies.
Oh, like
little turtles. Ant turtle combos. Yeah. Cute, and then whatever the hell this dragon crocodile thing is doing back here.
Crocodile.
It's getting ready to pounce.
Yeah, it is.
It's getting ready to pounce.
Oh, I love how you're chucking the spear.
That's the yep.
Oh wait, hold on, go back. It almost looks like a cheap too. Top right corner.
With some goggles.
It's a minion cheap.
Oh, this must be in the amusement park because here's a ride.
Yeah.
And then you got the monkey.
Some sort of monkey
action going on. I mean, and then obviously had that epic looking where
you can swim.
So after this epic look, just to see if I notice anything else in this shot.
Yeah, no,
not really. It's pretty much the same. It's same from the video, but yeah, it looks really good.
You can swim.
You can swim.
That's awesome.
I knew you could swim, but I wasn't sure. I still don't know if you can go under the water. I see they're wearing life things so they don't drown. It's kind of funny. So
this just looks pretty.
So that's kind of the thing I wanted to talk about for a moment is how good this game looks.
It looks
so
really good.
I think it looks pretty. A number of people I've seen criticize it, I think, expect too much of Kirby.
Yeah.
I think this game looks phenomenal. What are your thoughts? Because, I mean, God, for starters, you get in this game. This is the Mario 64 of Kirby.
Yeah, no, I know.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely thinking about it now. I mean, in order to play it co-op, I mean, we're probably going to have it. Both have it, I'm assuming.
Well, I'm wondering with the co-op. I'm sure there's single screen co-op, but I'm wondering if for co-op, if you could also have each on your own Switch.
Yeah,
that would be kind of cool. Now, if there's online co-op, then absolutely you can obviously do that. But can you do local co-op without going online? That would be nice too. Because then, if you don't want to get the online service, you can still do local co-op with Switches. And so there's a lot of unknowns out there about this game. Obviously, it's coming in March. I think the marketing campaign is really going to ramp up the moment Legends Arceus is out.
Oh yeah,
I think there's going to be a direct next month, and this will obviously be featured in the direct. What's interesting, they gave us the release date without waiting for the direct.
That is kind of it.
So do you think that means we're not going to get a direct till April or something?
No, I would assume that.
Or I mean, at April, you're already getting close to summer and E3 time,
right? No, I would assume there would be one next month because I mean, you still have, like you said, Splatoon 3 that you have to announce. You still have, I mean, you still could show more of Triangle Strategy. You still show more of Kirby.
Well, the thing is, usually what happens with the early year direct, what we call the, January, February, or spring direct, which whenever it happens is it sets up that first 6 months. So basically, it'll tell you what we are getting from now through July, and then that summer one that happens in June usually kind of details out the rest of the year. And then the one that happens later in the year advertises games that aren't out yet and then pokes at the next year. Now, sometimes, like last year, we got Splatoon 3 at that one, and that was not till next year. So, again, Nintendo will tease games when they want to tease them.
Advance Wars too. Yep.
Advance Wars 1+2 comes in April. The eShop release date leak was April 8th, so I was assuming that's when it's going to come. So, I Nintendo's got a great start to the year. Now, again, we don't know what if any exclusive Switch games coming in February, but we do know obviously about this. I think between Legends Arceus and then Triangle Strategy, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, then obviously quickly following up with Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. That's a really solid. That's like one of the best starts to a year they've had. besides 2017. And I think 2017 is a bit weird because they didn't start till March, but then they kicked it off with Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch, Bomberman R, Super R. And then you had, obviously Mario Kart 8 Deluxe coming in there. And then obviously quickly after that, Splatoon 2. So they had a really strong 3-4 month start.
Right.
And this isn't quite going to match that in terms of the impact of the games. But damn, dude. I mean, Legends Arceus, I guess you could argue it could potentially be Zelda level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pokemon's usually bigger than Zelda, but after what Breath of the Wild did, who knows with that one. Man, dude. What about this game is piquing your interest? Because like Kirby's been around forever.
Right.
Usually we get a game every year.
Yeah. I mean,
but we didn't. And now we know why. They actually took some time with this one. So
right. And I think that's kind of what is drawing my interest is that this does look a little bit more in depth. It looks a little bit more fleshed out compared to a normal Kirby game. So that's kind of I think what is piquing my interest and the ability to. I know other ones have been co-op in the past, but this one looks like it's could be a really decent co-op. That's also going to be part of my reason of probably going to actually get this game.
Well, you get to play with me.
Yeah.
And others, especially if there's local co-op.
Right.
Hey, there's co-op. Hopefully local. Even if it's not split screen. Back 4 Blood, take note.
Right. Oh, God.
Things I still really like Back 4 Blood.
I know.
I know. So, I don't know, man. Like, it feels weird to me that I'm excited for a Kirby game, and it shouldn't feel weird.
Yeah, right?
Look, we've gotten like Kirby Star Allies and other Kirby games over the years, but a lot of the times it just feels like you're just getting more Kirby, right? Like you go from Kirby back in the day, Return to Dreamland and all that, all the way through Star Allies, and it's kind of like, yeah, each one of them is good, but it's just more Kirby. And then arguably all of like the last 3 or 4 Kirby games have been kind of really, really easy. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not, by the way, there's nothing wrong with them being easy. I have never judged them harshly for being easy. I always felt that like Mario is kind of the balance of easy to hard. Mm-hmm. And then obviously you get into some of the harder ones from Nintendo, like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. That's more of a harder platforming game. And then you would have Mario as the tweener, and then you would have like Kirby as like the really, entry easy level for, probably intended for younger audiences. And I'm very curious on this. Like, one thing we can't tell from this is it actually more challenging than a normal Kirby game these days? I would presume so, because it's brought into a whole new perspective. But is it actually harder? Or is it just button mash fest and you just win easily?
Right. But I think, to me, part of it feels like Kirby has been kind of more of a younger to like mid-teens type game, where then Mario kind of picks up mid-teens to adults.
I think that's being a little generous.
Huh?
I don't think mid-teens give a crap about Mario or Kirby. I'm not trying to be mean there, but at that age, think about the stuff we were playing at that age. Like you might go like, oh yeah, we were in like Mario 64. We were a little younger than mid-teens for that. By the time we got to that age, we were thinking Halo,
right?
And the cool kid games.
That's kind of
the cool kid.
That's kind of, I think, where the audience is targeted at that kind of the age range. So that's why I think it's more of. I think that's why Kirby's tends to be a little bit more easy, is because I think it's generally geared towards the younger crowd.
Sure,
that's at least the way I've felt, because
the weird thing is Kirby wasn't always that way. Return to Dreamland was difficult, but it's just kind of morphed into that. And again, nothing wrong with that. Make games for all different age groups, all different sizes and types. There's nothing wrong with easy. I do see some complaints from Nintendo, longtime Nintendo fans for a while, that Kirby's been easy. And I just go, and what's your point? Not every game Nintendo makes has to be for you. Like, how many of those same people that complain about it say, hey, did you pick up, the new Brain Age game, Big Brain Academy? Did you pick that one up? Probably not, right? Because it wasn't tailored towards you. But you're not critical of that game. Why would you be? It's a decent game made for a specific audience, and you're not it. Well, that's kind of what happens sometimes with IPs. They evolve, and they just become something that, maybe it's just not for you anymore. And that's okay. Like, that's why I was fine with Pokemon. Okay, it's not for me, but I'm not going to criticize it hard, because you know what? Millions of people like it, so clearly they're doing something right. So let people have their fun. and it's okay that it's no longer for me. And that goes along with some of that stance that sometimes you can grow out of IPs. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's that you out-age them. I think you just expand your interest in other ways.
Right.
And then that IP just ends up not really being maybe what you enjoy anymore. You enjoy something else more.
Right. And it's not necessarily that you can't criticize it.
I put it this way.
More of a...
It's like, we like chicken nuggets when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
I still like chicken nuggets. But I mean, I'd rather have some wings.
Spicy chicken sandwich.
I'd rather have, like full-on chicken fingers and like, yeah, the nuggets are fine, but like seriously, when I was a kid, I definitely preferred dinosaur nuggets.
Oh, for sure.
As an adult, it's like, okay, no, there's a lot other versions that are basically the same thing that I prefer better more because my palate has expanded and now I like better stuff.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll paw through some chicken nuggets, but
I mean,
if they're available, if that's the only thing available,
if it's the only option. Right. But it's like, but as an adult, am I buying myself dinosaur chicken nuggets? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm buying wings. Hey man,
I still buy myself shaped macaroni every once in a while.
No, I mean, I have kids, so I can't. I don't even know if I would without kids.
I personally think it tastes better. I don't know why, but I think it's just something about the way that the noodles are versus the elbow macaroni that tastes better.
You're just a weirdo.
I don't know.
It tastes worse, but that's okay. You're wrong. No, it's your own personal taste, but who the hell knows? But yeah, I think it's kind of like that where, okay, cool. It was really good. But like now we enjoy things that are much better. Like when I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm not ordering off the kids menu. Like I don't need, their mac and cheese and a cup of broccoli. I will take an adult meal, please. And it's not that
we get two adult meals.
It's not that we don't still enjoy it. It's just kind of, but there's just things we'd rather spend our time with. Right. And that's the way I've kind of felt with Kirby. Like I play it. I didn't beat Star Allies. I played it for a little while, and then I was like, I got my fill because there's just other stuff I'd rather play. Not because I wasn't having fun. It's just I have more fun playing something else. So I'm going to spend my time with that.
Right. I mean, we played a couple of the levels. Good, actually. I think.
I mean, the same thing with the last Yoshi game. Like I played. I reviewed that Yoshi game, and I gave it a pretty good review. And people thought I was a little crazy. Why are you giving it such a good review? It's so easy. It being easy to me is not a reason to dock a game. Mm-hmm. If a game is easy from start to finish, that was the intent of the game. I'm not going to hold it against the game for being easy just because I would like it to be more difficult. I would prefer that Yoshi was a more difficult game like back in the day.
Yeah.
Clearly, I would prefer that. The original Yoshi games were much more difficult. I would prefer that personally. But I'm not going to hold it against an IP that's been stupidly easy for the last 3 releases. Yeah. Clearly, this is the direction. I'm not going to knock them for it.
I mean, the ones that get really weird are the ones that all of a sudden everything's really, really easy. And then all of a sudden it gets stupidly hard for no reason. And then all of a sudden you're back to back to easy. And you're like, what the?
I like this.
What was this?
It's like we kicked your ass.
Yeah.
You finally overcame it. You feel good. Yeah. Now we're going to let you relax for a while before we kick your ass.
I mean, it's just crazy because it just lulls you to sleep.
The massive difficulty
punches you in the face, and you're like, "What? Where did this come from?" Yeah.
And so with this game, we don't know. We still don't know if it's going to be easy or if it's not. I think the gameplay looks so varied that it lends itself to be a more Mario-like difficulty, and that's what I'm hoping for.
I like the variations in the world.
And everything. The world designs are just incredible to me.
There's
incredible. I'm again not the most gorgeous things I've ever seen, but for Kirby, I've never seen Kirby look this good.
Right.
It's never happened. The best Kirby's ever looked is in Smash Bros. So like,
and again, I still think we need to put that Coliseum in Smash Bros. It does look like a Smash Bros. Platform, and it does look like it needs to be there for the level.
Well, okay. Well, it didn't exist at the time, so
I know, but
so chill.
And I know they're done with it, but they need to.
There'll be another Smash Bros. Game someday. I don't know when, but someday. Sakurai will have one more in them at least.
By that time, though, the Forgotten Land may be forgotten.
I hope not.
I
made the title Kirby Does Not Want to Be Forgotten. It was obviously a play on the name of the game.
Yeah, obviously.
But I really think that this is the game that the Kirby team wants you to remember.
Yeah.
We remember Mario 64 forever. Ocarina of Time forever. Halo, the original Halo, forever. Those first forays into a new realm, you just remember. Unreal Tournament, the original, always will remember. The original Turok, always will remember. over and over, we can go over the start of something special. And even if future 3D Kirby games, which I hope exist, because I hope this one does well enough to justify it, end up being significantly better experiences. Like personally, I think, as an example, Mario Odyssey and both Mario Galaxy games are better than Mario 64. That doesn't change how special Mario 64 is. Same with Zelda. I find a lot of 3D Zelda games, even some top-down ones, better than Ocarina of Time. Doesn't change how special that game is. And that's what I think they're going for with this. Maybe there'll be better ones than it in the future, but for what this is, they want this to be that moment for Kirby. Hey, this is the game that's highlighting our end of the fiscal year and start of a new fiscal year. This is it. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, that's just a re-release. This is new. This is something we've never done, something we took time to do. And hey,
for sure.
They've been saying for the last 2 years in every interview with the developers of this game, while not even telling us what this game was, kept saying the next Kirby game is going to be the greatest Kirby game ever made. They said that themselves. They know the goal for this Kirby game is to be the best Kirby of all time. Will it get there?
Hopefully. I mean,
it looks incredible to me.
It looks amazing.
Looks incredible to me. And if they're working alongside that Mario team, and the Mario team's giving them some tips, because I definitely got some Mario vibes a little bit.
Yeah.
With obviously different gameplay elements. I'm sold.
Yeah, no, for sure.
This day one for me. Day one. I go toss down my pre-order right now. I'm just kind of I'm not going to end up getting the digital version instead, because I might get to play it 2 hours before midnight. Because it'll be, sometimes that happens with digital, where you can play it 2 hours before midnight our time.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I can actually do the stream technically the night before. Depending on how
before more people have the game.
Before it all lines up. We're a s'more special. Where I can be one of the first.
One of the few.
Even though people in other countries might have been streaming it for a day. Who the hell knows?
Right.
Japan is an example.
Right.
But it is cool. Obviously, dropping the release date now instead of waiting for a direct. It does make you question if there will be a direct. It does obviously make you question if they didn't think that this particular release date, if Nintendo's still not viewing viewing Kirby yet in the light of bigger games, like you're not going to see a random release date drop in a trailer for Breath of the Wild 2. It's going to happen at a special Nintendo event. It's not going to be a random Twitter, YouTube trailer drop. So they're not treating Kirby on that level yet, but maybe this is it. Maybe this is the prove it game. Prove that we should respect the marketing of your game enough that you deserve to be a highlight release date at a major event.
No, for sure.
Because I think what's going to happen is Splatoon 3 is going to be released either in May or June, and that release date is going to be the one that's unveiled at the Direct, and they know that release date would just overshadow.
And that's what I was just going to say. I was thinking that, they didn't want this release date to get overshadowed by Splatoon 3's release date. I was just literally thinking that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I definitely still think there's a Direct, because again, we've covered, they have a ton of stuff that they could still show.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, it makes sense that there would be a Direct, and I think the reason why they did it this way is, again, like you said, to not overshadow it with Splatoon 3's release date.
All right. Before we continue, we have a sponsor for today's podcast. So big shout out to the makers of a brand new game launching tomorrow on Nintendo Switch.
That would be the 13th.
Steam, iOS, and Android. We're talking about a free-to-play game. A game I have played myself already, and we'll have a featured video out called Turbo Shot. Turbo Shot is coming to Switch and Steam on January 13th, and it's free. The top-down shooter is combined with classic Zelda puzzles. That's right, it's a top-down shooter. We're going to show you some footage of it here in a moment. Version 1.0, which is the version that launches on the 13th, includes the very first chapter of the single-player story and an exciting multiplayer PvP battle mode. Turbo Shot will receive regular updates, which each will add new single-player and PvP content for a long time to come. If you're wondering obviously how it's going to make money, there is going to be a season pass you can optionally purchase. Players can purchase the Turbo Pass, as they call it, and get a bunch of unlockables and support the development of the game if they want to. And I love that this is the marketing stuff they sent to me for talking points for the bigger video. And I love that they said it's if they want to. They just want you to play. Just try it out. Now, we're going to show you the game.
It'll be interesting to see what they lock behind that Turbo Pass, because...
Well, I've seen some of the stuff. It works at... So I'll tell you guys this right now. When you're playing the game, I can't really tell so much that because I get to play the Steam version of it. That I was playing a game that was designed necessarily for mobile until I got to like the overworld section where you go level to level and then the season pass thing. But didn't bother me one bit. I actually think it looked pretty good. So we're gonna look at some gameplay here. So first up, a look at some of the puzzles. Well, we're not going to watch all of this, but let's flip on over here to this. And then I forget which button I have it set to. Hold on. You guys are going to see like picture in picture here for a moment. I got to figure out.
Holy cow.
Was it? Nope. I thought I had it set up here. Nope. Yeah, this one. Hey, thanks to Turbo Shot. There it is.
There we go.
All right. So this is some footage that I can confirm this is legit because I play the game. I'm using their footage just because they're better at the game than me. There's something I figured out about shooting there's something I figured out about shooting the gun.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize at the time. Like holding down the button makes it rapid fire, and it took. I just felt like I felt like it's such an idiot.
Your arse kicked until you figured.
Yeah. Anyways. So those are the two characters. So you are running around and going to be solving some puzzles. So so this is where you get to select like different power-ups when you find these. Your choice on how you want to power up your character for that given level. The hearts obviously restore health. So the puzzle for this one was just go stand on a switch. This one's going to be where you lift a cube. I did this level already, and you drop it there and it opens the door. So again, very Zelda-like in some of those elements. And then you get the key and you can go unlock doors. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff like this so far. A lot of block puzzles, a lot of clearing room puzzles. This is a double block puzzle. You're like, what the heck? That thing filled up halfway. Oh yeah, let's go get this other one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a really, really cool thing. Now you're not seeing obviously a lot of action in this one. This is obviously focusing on the puzzle elements, and it shows you just a whole bunch of different puzzles on the way. And there you can see your character upgraded with more looks. This is a cool item. This is a bomb. So you go blowing walls just like in Zelda and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of action. So let's I want to show you some action footage now of what it's like when you're in combat, which I think is this one. Well, no, that's multiplayer, I think.
Yep. This is multiplayer.
Well, here's the multiplayer PvP.
Yeah.
Just got destroyed. So 10 players in multiplayer play together in Turbo Shot. And your goal is to collect gems. And you basically collect gems by killing other players. And then you can run throughout the level and find those power-ups. So you increase your damage. You can see them going at it. And so when you kill them, you get gems and you get to take one of their power-ups. And then once you get to 50, at one point, this big thing opens up on the map. Which you're seeing there in that left corner. And you go in there. You have a time limit to get in there, and you might not be just because you made it in there. If someone else gets 50 and gets in there and kills you, they win. So you can see that you're collecting those things. So I had a lot of fun when I was playing this. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I was kind of partially watching you play, and it did look pretty fun.
And it gets really intense when there's like 4 people attacking each other at the same time. No, someone took your kill.
Uh-oh. Run!
Let's see, because you're low on health, so you gotta kite him. Oh, yeah. No. Get the upgrade. Anyways. So let's look at the multiplayer. I'm trying to see where it shows entering the ending here. Yep. Wait, no, see, that's the big thing that when the door opens, you enter.
Come on.
Oh, door's open.
There we go. Holy cow!
And boom.
Oh, so
now they're trying to. Yep.
The meter fills.
Yep.
Nice.
Bam. So it's a lot of fun. It's free to play. And I just want to give you guys a brief look at the Turbo Pass as well. Because they kind of had a video on this a little bit here. So you can kind of see it's kind of a classic store option. You can buy coins to get upgrades and stuff. You can also earn them while you play.
Yeah.
There's achievements and all that great stuff. So that's how they make it, is through those little microtransactions. But again, I haven't spent a dime, and I am having a blast.
Yeah, no, it looked, like I said, I was watching you play it. It did look a lot of fun.
So yeah, so I want to give a big shout out to TurboShot. Thank you so much for sponsoring. Hopefully you guys check out this. We have a full feature video on this up on the main channel. You guys should go check out TurboShot. It's absolutely free on any device you want. Obviously they're doing the special promo for Switch here on our channel. So yeah, we will have links when this podcast is put on the main podcast channel, and obviously in that video we'll have links to everything to go check it out on the Nintendo Switch eShop and all that. So thank you guys for sponsoring this episode of that's the podcast.
Amazing.
All right. Wrong button. All right, so getting back into some of this, I want to actually kind of flip the script a little bit and go back into some banter here.
Okay.
So, first off, thank you, Taker610, for the $2 super chat during our live show. It says, is GS's Series X bundle worth a GameStop's? My power is out. I mean, they're not overcharging you, so it's just all about if the stuff in the bundle is stuff you're interested in. They are not overcharging you. So one thing I wanted to talk about briefly, because this has been a hot topic of debate as more and more Pokemon Legends Arceus videos come out.
Okay.
Is how much graphics matter?
Okay.
How much do graphics matter? Because the general consensus seems to be from a lot of people is that Pokemon Legends Arceus doesn't look very good visually.
Mm-hmm.
They say, yeah, maybe the gameplay is great, but visually it looks, Xbox 360, maybe PlayStation 2 level, and you might go, no, it doesn't. But then you go back and look at some of those games, and you're like, okay, yeah, outside of them not all necessarily being on HD, okay, yeah, you could kind of see how it looks that way. And the excuses all exist for why it looks this way. The company, they're not given enough time to do it. They're not given the budget. Some people think they should be given the time and budget to do it right, but then that would mean they probably aren't making other games along the way. Like someone mentioned, why don't they get the time and budget of Zelda? Well, how long has it been since we had a new Zelda game? Do you think the Pokemon company is going to wait 5 years?
No.
They're not going to do that. And they got to put other things on pause in the meantime, too, like the show and the movies and the other games, Pokemon Go. So, there's just a lot in there where you have to consider the Pokemon company's goals and how they might not line up with yours. I obviously have always said I wish the Pokemon company was given an unlimited budget and as much time as they need to make the best games possible. But that has never been the case.
You mean Game Freak?
Game Freak. Well, Pokemon company makes the decision.
No. You said Pokemon given the unlimited, but Pokemon company given the unlimited budget. Wouldn't that be Game Freak then?
Well, yeah, but yeah. The point is they have lots of money. Money is not the problem. Right. It's how the Pokemon company runs the franchise.
Right.
So I've been kind of defending Legends Arceus a bit, and I know some people out there kind of feel like maybe I'm just being a fanboy. Those who actually know me know I'm not even a fan of Pokemon. So
that's funny.
I'm defending it because I personally don't think every game needs to be graphically insane. Like Breath of the Wild looks amazing, especially on Switch. For a Switch game, it looks great. I don't think it needs to match Breath of the Wild. I think that's being unfair. I think there's a few things to remember. Games targeted towards a younger audience tend to not be extremely visually pleasing. Roblox is not a very good looking game. Minecraft is not a very good looking game. They're simplistic. Pokemon has traditionally been fairly simplistic. Some people are going to argue that's not true. It's visual. I can point out on every single one of those mobile handhelds dozens of games that push the limits of that handheld and look significantly visually more pleasing than Pokemon. Pokemon has also lended itself more towards simplistic visuals. Doesn't mean they haven't done complex things within those visuals and within the animations of the Pokemon and the attacks, but the target audience of children, which I would say are ages 12 and under, tend to not give a shit about visuals. And I wonder at what age does it begin that we start to really care about it? Like the people that complain about the visual, I'm like, how old are you? Like my first question is, how old are you? I'm just curious.
Right.
Like, are you like a 10-year-old complaining? Because yeah. What do you play? What's your favorite games? Roblox and Fortnite? I mean, okay, so that's what the compare. I mean, Fortnite on PC kind of look better, but
everything should kick the shit out of it.
Like,
I mean,
Like that's like my whole defense is, look, I'm excited for Legends Arceus, but the visuals have nothing to really do with it.
Yeah.
It has to do with the gameplay. I'm excited for the gameplay and the openness of it, and the freedom, and the fact that the Pokemon attack the trainer. Like, that stuff is what really, really excites me. Not necessarily that the game is the most gorgeous looking thing out there in terms of visuals. Like, if I want a visual treat, I'm not playing games on Switch anyways. Visual treats to me are typically, let me play games on PC. If I want really, really pretty looking games played on there. Now, Nintendo typically goes with art styles. And if you want to argue the art direction of this is something that's not pleasing to you, fine. But that doesn't seem to be the argument. The argument is that Nintendo's done better. Well, Nintendo didn't make the game.
Right.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land, yeah, to me, looks visually more pleasing than Pokemon. Heck, maybe Kirby and the Forgotten Land got a bigger budget than Pokemon Legends Arceus because the Pokemon company cheaps out. But I honestly think it's fine because I know my own children. I watch them play. My kids, most fun they have had playing games in the last week has been playing on a Nintendo Wii. Not even in HD, guys. 480p on a 4K TV blown up so it looks like shit. They didn't give a shit that it was pixelated to shit. They didn't give a shit that the visuals looked like something from 2006 when they weren't even alive. They didn't care. They had so much fun playing Wii Sports. So much fun playing all these old Wii games. And we're not talking about the visually pleasing ones like Mario Odyssey. That's not even what interested them. I put Mario Odyssey. They didn't even care about it. They wanted to play party games. They wanted to play simplistic games.
Yeah.
What we need to remember is that the target audience matters. So I throw this to you.
Yeah.
How much for a game like Pokemon do the visuals truly matter? Because I can say we're not kids though, so shouldn't they matter to us?
Right. I do agree that target audience does matter. The art style, if you pick an art style, go 100%, lean into it. Take it and go. To me, it's not even about the graphics, it's about the polish. It's the part of the reason why when we saw, Sword and Shield's trailers, that we didn't like the game was because it wasn't polished. The game looked like shit, not because of the art style, but because it wasn't polished. And I think a lot of the graphics has to do with the overall polish of the game. Did you take the time to put in that this house isn't grainy looking or isn't like this? It is actually like, it looks like a house. In whatever art style you're going with, it looks like a house. And it's supposed to be a house. This tree is supposed to be a tree. Lean into your art style. Can you make a mistake in an art style? Absolutely. But if you're going 100% into it and you polish that game, I think that matters more.
So I've been thinking a lot about this after debating with some people on Twitter about it. And not just this game, just the question in general of how much do visuals matter? Because obviously we're in a visual medium. You can play games blind, of course, but that's not how I play. I'm not blind. So I enjoy it. Video games are a visual medium, so I get the importance on visuals and why so many people put an emphasis on graphics. But I kept thinking to myself, as someone who loves really, really pretty looking games on PC, loves on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 as well, obviously likes playing games on Switch too. I sat there and I kept thinking, how much do the visuals really matter to me? Like, when we think about looking at how great a game is, where would the visuals of the game place in how I'm looking at this game? And I could tell you one thing, gameplay to me matters 20 billion times more.
Yeah, for sure.
You could be The Order, 1886 or whatever it was, absolutely gorgeous looking game. The gameplay really wasn't that great. So it kind of knocked it down a few notches. Okay, it's fine. So gameplay's king. Nintendo's been telling us forever gameplay's king. So is it a surprise that as a Nintendo gamer that I put gameplay first? No, that's not a surprise. Okay, then what after that? Story. Story is what compels me to keep moving forward in a game that has a story. Right. So gameplay and then story I think both matter to me more than visuals. Now, in games where there aren't any story, sure, maybe the visuals might rank above it, but okay, so if I'm putting gameplay and visuals there, okay, and then I'd also put, this is related to gameplay, controls. How does the game control? Because it could be a really good gameplay experience, but if I just don't like the way it controls, like I used to have a really hard time with flight simulators because it inverted sticks, and I totally understand that that's mimicking how it actually works. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't point, you don't fly a plane by pointing. That's not how it works. You know, you pull like the stick to do it. Anyways, so I understand that it was mimicking that, but as like a gamer who's so used to where I move the stick is where I go, it was really jarring to me. So I ended up not enjoying them as much. It took me until I got a flight stick for Crimson Skies on PC that I really started to enjoy it. And I realized, okay, my issue is how it controls on a normal controller, not how it controls in general. Right. I get the right controller for it. It's kind of like racing games. Racing games are factually better, at least to me, if you have the racing wheel with the pedals, and even if you have the shifter for manual shift. It is. It's a really expensive setup, by the way. You can get it cheap, but the cheap ones suck.
Right.
You want to do it right. It's expensive. Thousands of dollars to have that set up. Granted, you can use it across pretty much all racing games, but still, it's expensive to do it right. So the controls matter to me more than the visuals. So where do the visuals matter in my ranks? And the visuals are kind of like the last thing I think about when playing a game. It's weird because the first thing you see, opening cutscene to Breath of the Wild, open your eyes. First thing you're seeing is what's happening on screen. You're not even controlling anything yet.
Let me put this out there too. I think good visuals can help a game, can really push a game forward. And obviously bad visuals can pull it back. I mean, obviously, for sure. But, if the game is a shitty game, has good graphics,
Arc Survival Evolved,
you might give it a little bit better grade than what you normally would. But if it plays like shit and it looks like shit, then, I mean, what's the point?
Well, my thing is, a game can look like shit, but if it plays fantastic, like, for example, we have, and this isn't me just saying this because sponsored episode of the podcast, Turbo Shot. It's not exactly a graphically impressive game. But man, is that gameplay fun.
Yeah.
And that's what matters to me. Like, is it that the gameplay can make me overlook the visuals? Maybe. But I also look at it as, then how much do the visuals matter? Not nearly as much as the gameplay. So if the visuals don't prevent a great game from being great. And so like when I see people criticize the visuals, it's not that they don't have a right to that critique. Of course they can. It's their personal opinion. Mm-hmm. But it's also, can we wait till the game's here to know if the visuals warrant being super critical of? Because if the rest of the game is amazing, like somebody said, the visuals got crap, it doesn't mean it won't be a great game. Okay. So if the visuals don't hold it back from being a great game, and you just self-admitted visuals aren't holding it back from being a great game, or might not hold it back from being a great game, then how much do the visuals actually matter in the first place? Because if the great game isn't determined by that, then the visuals are kind of like a bonus. Mm-hmm. They're kind of we'd like to have them, but they're not really needed. And this is important, I think, because as we're in next gen, or current gen as it is now, and visuals are being 4K, 120 FPS, everything is being pushed as much as humanly possible. It makes you sit there and wonder, like, is that really what should be the focus? Why are we not focusing more on expanding gameplay in ways that we have never done before with this power? New things we can do. As an example, fully destructible environments and what we could pull that off with gameplay.
Yeah, for sure.
That, to me, is like, why is that not a bigger focus? That's gameplay.
No, for sure. I think part of the graphics, though, too, is how well it enhances your immersion, too. If the graphics are so bad that it takes you out of the game.
Quick question.
What
matters more for that, though? Because I got immersed in Secret of Mana.
Yeah.
Just last week. Mm-hmm. SNES era graphics. So does it really matter? Does it really matter?
But to a certain extent, though,
the only way I can say it matters is if it's like realistic visuals that don't look realistic anymore.
Right. True.
That's the problem with realism.
And again, that comes back to your art style.
Yeah, like Pokemon Legends Arceus isn't attempting to look realistic. So what am I getting immersed in? I'm getting immersed in what that game is. Hopefully, I don't know yet. It might not immerse me.
But again, like like I said though, too, part of like, a house not looking like a house, or to a certain, you know what I'm saying though, with that, that could pull you out of your immersion a little bit too. The bush looks like absolute god awful.
So we have a comment in the chat from Hello who says, I like it when gamers say graphics don't matter. But when they play a game with such bad graphics to the point you can't see your character, they complain heavily about that. I have not played a game where I can't see my character in my entire life.
There are points in time in like certain Sonic games where your character just goes completely invisible, but that's after you got hit and
that's an intended part of the game.
Frame.
Yeah, that's just part of the game. It just flashes in and out.
Yeah,
I know where my character is.
Yeah,
that's a gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah,
that's just always been part of Sonic. Yeah. I don't think it's part of the 3D ones as much as the side-scrolling ones, but that's just classic Sonic. Yeah. But I think the point there is where you're actually just playing the game and you can't see your character. It's so blurry.
I've
never had that happen. Even the shittiest of shitty games like E.T., I could see my fucking character.
Right.
So like what kind of, like when people say stuff like that, I'm like, what game are you playing that you can't see your character? Please, I would love an example where the game is so blurry you can't see your character. Because even on Switch, when you're playing The Witcher 3 and it hits 240p, I can see Geralt just fine.
Oh, meant as a joke.
But there are people that say that.
Oh, no.
That's not a joke.
Sure. Yeah. No,
like they say, you can't say graphics don't matter. But then if it's too blurry, okay, sure. Now give me an example where that's happened. And then I'll agree with you. Okay. It doesn't happen. Right. They don't make it so you can't see your... Like, the best examples would be the games on Switch and handheld that hit 240p and look really blurry. I can still see my character. I still don't have an issue seeing what I'm doing, figuring it out.
Dragon Ball Z.
The only time
Switch,
like blurriness would matter to me is obviously the text was blurry. You can't read it. Like that, but that's a text thing. That's not. That's a visual element, but that's not graphics. That's just... Really?
It also depends on how they display their
there's by the way, there's sometimes the text is in full resolution, but it's just a really shitty text with a really shitty background, hard to read. That's a bad design element.
Apparently, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot
on Switch.
You
can't see your character in that game. I haven't played that game in a long time. I could see the character fine when I play, but I will say this: I did not play a lot of it. So is that actually a problem with that game? Is that actually a problem with the game? Now, when I see some other people say, "Oh, that lawn mowing game is so bad," and other things, it starts with the gameplay, doesn't it? If the gameplay is bad, none of the rest really matters, right? Mm-hmm. I can clearly see Goku flying, says Birdman. So, like, the thing is, it all starts with the gameplay to me.
Yeah,
and obviously, being able to see your character is kind of fundamental to gameplay, too. Like that's kind of the trick part of that. It's like, oh yeah, graphics don't matter, but when it's so blurry, for starters, you're not talking graphics at that point. You're talking resolution.
Right.
I think we need to understand, folks, there is a massive difference between graphics and resolution. You guys know what resolution is, right? Right? Do I have to explain what resolution is? Like resolution, yes. Obviously, higher resolution is better in almost every instance. Not necessarily needed to be a good game, but yeah, better. But resolution is not graphics. Resolution is just visual clarity.
And yeah, I mean,
graphics are all the other elements, the actual models, the actual elements within the visuals, such as like, does grass move? Is it real? Can you interact with it? The way the building is textured, the way the character model moves. And looks, and like there's a whole bunch of stuff that go into graphics. The resolution is sort of independent of that, even though the models can be made to be seen in a certain resolution. They can also be made to be seen in a lesser resolution too. The resolution is sort of its own separate thing. That's why, like when you play PC games, you can change the resolution all over the place. Like, it doesn't really matter. You're just doing what your hardware can handle. But yeah, graphics are entirely and this is where I mentioned before, I think sometimes there's too much emphasis on the graphics in newer games. I can't tell you how many people I have seen knock things like the latest, the latest Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart game. Not because it's not a great game. Guys, it doesn't look next gen. That doesn't look next gen to me. And I'm so tired of those arguments. Here's the only question we need to ask ourselves when we play games. is the game fucking good? And if it's good, then who gives a shit? I'm so tired of this graphics crap. And maybe that's what bothers me about this. Like, look, if you're going to say the visuals look like crap in Pokemon Legends Arceus, but the game still might be really good, then the visuals don't impact your gameplay experience enough for you to give a shit if it's still a great game in spite of your opinion, bad visuals. Right. So then shut the fuck up.
I think part of it is, though, too, with kind of our age, we grew up with god-awful graphics, god-awful everything, because that was the limitation of the gaming consoles that we had. Where kind of some of these younger generations, and I'm not trying to be like, oh my God, these young kids, blah, 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 but that's all they've known is these ultra-realistic games.
But have they? My children, they see ultra-realistic, and they're not having necessarily any more fun with it.
I'm not talking children. I'm talking like teens.
But they were
20s.
kids once too. You can realize they've had these smartphone-like games and Minecraft going back like 20 years. Almost. It's been insanely long.
But we're talking about when the age of when graphics really matter, though, too.
I think you're talking about the age group of when you hit high school.
Right.
And you're like, I got to be cool.
Right, exactly.
Nintendo's kiddie now.
We've come through.
We've been through that.
We've grown up with god-awful graphics because of the limitations of the...
But even when I was in high school, I got made fun of for playing Nintendo stuff. Right. It wasn't realistic enough. It wasn't edgy enough. It wasn't cool enough. It was on weak hardware. It wasn't... Which, by the way, was really funny because like GameCube is more powerful than the PlayStation 2. But they keep on arguing with me about that all the time. Oh, you find PlayStation 2 is awesome. But like also, by the way, you keep telling me it's more powerful. Let me show you these two games on the system and which one looks better. That's clearly the PlayStation 2. So,
right.
By the way, that's GameCube footage. Have a good day.
Where I was going with that though is I think that kind of has lessened our like need for amazing graphics because we did in the day. We had god-awful graphics because that's all we had.
Caveat to that.
Yeah.
They weren't god-awful. That was the best that could be done at that time.
And but so like nowadays though,
but that's dumb. That's like saying, well, computers today are amazing, so computers back in the 90s were pieces of shit. No, not at the time they weren't. Mm-hmm. At the time they were revolutionary. Mm-hmm. The personal computer was revolutionary back then. Yeah, they've gotten faster, they've gotten better. It doesn't disqualify how amazing those products were at the time. Like, this is like remember when we would play something like, even like GoldenEye, and we're like, man, this looks so cool. Mm-hmm. It looks just like the movie. Blah, blah, like, yeah, that's what you thought.
Well, we're right.
And obviously visuals have gotten significantly better since then, but it's not just that we didn't know any better. There was no knowing better. Right, there wasn't better.
Yeah, right.
There was no such thing as knowing better. Yeah. So it's like, that's why some people today look back on those games and they go, man, they look like shit. That's because what you grew up with, you're comparing to classic. This would be like, back then we're comparing, like that would be like taking GoldenEye back then and comparing it to the games that where you just type text in a box and go left, go right. There was no visuals. It was just text on the screen saying something happened. It's basically like an interactive novel at that point.
Or even like NES, like ET.
Or Pong.
Or,
looking back at Pong.
Right. Exactly.
And it's like, well, yeah, no shit, it looks better than that. But also, I think the issues that we have today, and I don't even think it's an issue, because kids are growing up with the simplistic graphics, and they're hitting the edgy teen years. And then they decide, okay, what we care about more as gamers is now this more edgy, more mature content, trying to be cool, which the irony is, if you're an adult and you go play those games, you're stuck playing with a bunch of damn kids. It was true when we were younger. It's still true today. Yeah. You load up Call of Duty Warzone and you're still stuck playing with a shitload of fucking kids.
10-year-olds.
It's like you turn on the chat and it's like ridiculous how many children you hear. Like you play Madden, and if you ever put your headset on in Madden, it's ridiculous how many actual, like, legitimate under 10-year-olds are sitting there playing that game. And, like, it's fine. They're allowed to enjoy it. But why are they... And then, by the way, this isn't me saying those games are bad, but it's also, like, some of these games are rated M. Some of these games, like, what are these kids even doing here?
Right.
And that was the same when we were a kid. So, like, that part hasn't changed.
Right. No, for sure.
It's just the games look more realistic. And I think what happens... And I never grew up as a non-Nintendo kid. So there is that aspect of growing up where you've only played PlayStation. So if you started PlayStation and PlayStation 3, and then 4, and now you're looking at 5, And then you go and you play Pokemon Legends Arceus on a handheld on Switch, and you go, man, this thing looks worse than anything I've ever played on PlayStation. I could see where you might go, man, Nintendo's a piece of shit. I could see that. I could see where you could come to that conclusion because you've never experienced visuals worse, you know, and you've gone through a progression of visuals where you're like, it's 2022. What the fuck is this game looking like this for? I can understand that opinion coming up from certain age groups. But also, the people I see complaining about this are people that grew up with Nintendo. And when I hear these complaints from actual people that have been playing Nintendo since at least Wii days, it's like, where the fuck were you during Wii?
Right.
Or DS or 3D? Like, what are you talking about? These visuals aren't any worse than we've seen on Nintendo ever. Even on like Switch, we've seen other games come out that weren't exactly visually impressive. So I kind of think that there is this innate desire, and this is, by the way, this is driven by marketing, that we want things to be as pretty as possible. Because what's the one thing you can market? It's hard to market gameplay sometimes because you're trying to market the feel of playing a game, and you can't really ever get that true feel without the controller in your hands. Like, we can watch streamers play games at high level and all the stuff, or play games at a poor level like I do. And it doesn't necessarily give you the full feel of playing the game. And then you have people like that just look at a game and they see, does it look good? These are the judging something by its cover people, where they walk around back in the day when you're renting movies, and instead of reading the back, they just look at the cover of every movie, every VHS, every DVD, and they decide if it's going to be good or not, and if they're interested in it or not based on the cover. Yulia, by the way, my fiance, I love her, but she's still kind of this way. She won't even read the full description. She'll just look at the picture and decide right then if it's good or not. It's like, do you even read the movie's about? Even know? I think it's going to be right up your alley. I think it's like, I usually end up picking out movies that are really good every time, and movies she would have never picked because she didn't bother to dig deeper into what it is, or look up reviews, or look up, or it's like, oh yeah, no, this is going to be good. This is going to be the kind of movie you enjoy, but like, you would have given it a chance because it didn't have the right sort of movie, the cover to catch you. And like, that's the thing with games is, I think what happens is there's a whole group of people in general that judge a book by its cover. And that happens with video games. The easiest way to market games is visuals. Does this game look awesome? Looks awesome. Might not actually be awesome, but it looks awesome. And that's easy to market. And that's why you see people push. Like, you'll see visuals, instead of them pushing for native 4K, which is very difficult to do even on a PlayStation 5, it's going to be checkerboard rendering or some other rendering technique to get there, because they want to push the rest of the visuals to a point that it looks so impressive. And
I mean, you can polish a turd. It's still a turd. I mean,
and by the way, this isn't me saying that games can't be visually stunning and equally amazing gameplay wise. Of course they can.
Absolutely.
In an ideal world, you could argue that's what every game should be like. But it's hard to do. It's expensive to do. It doesn't always make sense because the sales aren't going to be there. And if every studio tried to do that, a lot of studios wouldn't exist anymore. And heck, you can call it selfish, but we wouldn't be able to get sponsorships like TurboShot if all people did was care about visuals. Thankfully, that's not the case, and a lot of people don't mind simplistic visuals. In fact, some prefer them. Some people think the realism and the hyper pushing of graphics is actually unappealing. Like when Unreal Engine 5 comes out and they show off these new abilities they can show with how realistic the face is, like, that creeps some people out, and they have no interest in wanting to play games that break that wall between realism and whatever. It's kind of like CGI, like trying to get to CGI level. And by the way, I don't think games are out there yet. Maybe they will be someday, but I don't think we're there yet. That uncanny valley, I guess, is the way they usually say that. But I don't know, man. Visuals just aren't that important to me. I don't know if they ever really happen. And it doesn't mean that I can't appreciate good visuals and be like, I remember the first time when Link ran out and they do that wide shot at the beginning of Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, man, this looks awesome. But like, I didn't say, oh man, this looks so gorgeous. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. No, I said this looks awesome. Because I was imagining all the gameplay I was going to be doing in this epic world I'm seeing. Wasn't necessarily because I'm like, oh my God, it's the most visual. But there's also been times when I've turned on a game. And also, this happened, by the way, when I played Horizon. Zero Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
I got to a moment in the game where I'm like, man, this looks really pretty. And then I went ahead and clipped right through a tree, and I just said, what the fuck?
Again, polish.
But that's not polish. That has nothing to do with polish. That's a gameplay choice. They are choosing to push visual elements over interactivity of the world. And that's where I mentioned, I'd rather worlds be fully destructible and fully interactable because that's a gameplay mechanic than worry about it looking as like when I look at this tree in this game and it looks hyper realistic, but if I run through the branch like it's not even there, that breaks the realism in the first place to me. Mm-hmm. And by the way, that happens. Ironically, not in Breath of the Wild, but I think it's unfair for me to just keep comparing everything to the fact that when you hit a branch in Breath of the Wild, you hit a fucking branch.
You will go.
but like that's also part of the physics in it. So like there's a whole. It's right. Not a lack of polish. It's literally a game design choice to not do that because they don't think making something like that interactable, making that object be something you could slam into and move or break, will enhance the experience enough versus just making it look prettier.
Yeah, no.
They think making it look prettier
I'd rather have a
will sell better.
I'd rather have a shitty looking tree.
We gotta be fair. Horizon Zero Dawn outsold every single Zelda game that's ever existed by Breath of the Wild, and it was a brand new IP. So, like, were they wrong?
I mean,
yeah. And a lot of games have clipping like that. And by the way, I realize there are elements in the foliage and stuff that do interact to Alloy. I absolutely recognize that. I played it. I know. There's tall grass that you can hide in and do Assassin's Creed, like, stealth takedowns and stuff. I'm aware. But also, notice how the stuff that's interactable are tied to gameplay elements. I'm talking about things that just enhance the gameplay experience, but might not be necessarily tied to a gameplay element. And there's a lot of games like that. So to me, stuff like that matters way more than let's just make this tree look as realistic as possible when you're just standing there staring at it. Like my thing is, if I want to stand and stare at a tree, I'll just go in my front yard.
Look at me, I'm literally standing in the tree.
Like, I'm not going to jump at my tree and hit a branch in real life because it just doesn't sound like a good idea. But in a video game, I would love to do that just for fun. And so I see this tree and I go to jump at it and like I just whoosh, right through the branches. It's like that. Okay. I just got taken out of my immersion. In real life, if I go outside and jump off my roof and hit the tree, I'm going to boom and be and probably fall down and break something or die. So like, but again, this is not like, this isn't just about like Horizon. This is just like in general that I think people, it's easier to sell something that looks good in a still frame or in motion. Mm-hmm. Than it is to sell something that like, oh my gosh, you can break branches. You can, every blade of grass you step on actually separates or gets smushed down. Wind actually legitimately, when it changes directions, everything around you changes its motion and you can hear it with 3D audio going from different sides. And like all of that sounds great, but so few games actually do it because we could put a lot of processing and GPU power and all that into that, or we could just take literal pictures of trees and fully model them out and have that be not interactable, but still look very, very pretty and make this nice landscape view that's just amazing. And maybe there's some pre-done rustle in the trees or something, but it doesn't really change ever. It's the same rustle every time, which doesn't happen in real life. In this hyper-realistic world where you're pushing realism and then all the interactivity isn't realistic. That bothers me. That is immersive breaking. And that happens in like every realistic art direction game there is because the whole reason they're going for realism is because they want you to look at this and go, ooh, pretty. Mm-hmm. And that to me is where I have an issue with the way games are made today by a lot of companies. And not every company is guilty of this, but a lot of them are that push realism. They push it to a point where
no, for sure.
It's just not right to me. And that's the thing. Like, so all these fans complain, oh, nothing looks next gen. What's a good game? Did you have fun playing it? Would it suddenly have been better if, I don't know, that box, you know, you could see the literal individual grain on it? Like, you know, because like I'm sitting there staring at a box in real life and I can't see the individual grain on it until I'm like right up to here on it. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, you want to be able to see that in 4K from 30
feet away.
30 feet out. Like, oh man, look at the detail on that. It's kind of like when people talk about like those $4,000 lenses you can buy for cameras. Like, look at how far you can zoom in and like see. I'm like, yeah, but in real life, I can't see that shit. Mm-hmm. So like, who cares? Who cares? It's not realistic, but that's what they want. They want it to be like that. So I don't know. I know it's all marketing. It's because it's just easier. It's easier to sell pretty than it is to sell good gameplay. No, and again, you can have both.
Yeah.
And I think maybe this is part of why I'm a Nintendo guy, because Nintendo clearly cares more about the gameplay than about the visuals. Mm-hmm. And when they nail both, it's awesome. Right. And a lot of that's art direction. Splatoon, I think, nails art direction. Mario nails art direction. I think Breath of the Wild nailed art direction. I think Kirby and the Forgotten Land nailed art direction. And that goes a long way. But that doesn't mean the art direction can't have more in it. Mm-hmm. But art direction, I think, matters a hell of a lot more. And realistic is an art direction. But there's a lot more expectations thrown onto realism because you're trying to recreate the world.
Right.
And in recreating the world, when the basic elements are how you interact with the world, that's what makes it realistic. Mm-hmm. And those elements aren't there. It's like, well, then who cares that if I'm just standing in my porch, this looks like my backyard. But then when I go walk in the grass or I go in lawnmower simulator and I'm mowing and it's just totally unrealistic, it's like,
right. No, for sure, absolutely.
I don't know. That's my thoughts.
And Taker's not wrong. with his super chat just recently that early Nintendo Prime graphics were a little iffy.
Early Nintendo Prime podcast graphics?
Oh.
What graphics do we even have early? You mean like the old logo?
Yeah, I guess so.
No.
I mean,
I didn't pay real artists at the time. So.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. Chill out that my MS Paint skills weren't good enough for you.
Right.
In the olden days.
Right.
Come on now, man. MS Paint is the way. Do you know the way?
Heck yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to add? I think we can probably wrap it up.
No, I agree. I think, again, like you were touching on at the end there, I really think art direction and leaning into it is definitely more important than, to me anyways, than like, oh my God, this game looks ultra realistic. I mean, if you're gonna
and I'm going to be honest, guys, in all this talk that we've had where people who grew up playing Nintendo, I'm actually really curious, people who didn't. And I know it's going to be hard to see, watch Nintendo Prime podcast. How the hell I don't know. If there's anybody who grew up in other mediums, PC gaming, PlayStation, Xbox, etc. I would like to hear your thoughts on in the comments below. And I'm going to try my best not to like reply to you, not because I'm trying to be rude, but because I want to be fair. I realize that we all have different experiences growing up, and your opinion is just as valid as mine. And I think sometimes people feel like when I reply to them that I am acting like their opinion doesn't matter when I'm just disagreeing and voicing my own. Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing about written text that sometimes it's really hard to get across, like that you're not yelling at them.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you're an idiot. Wrong. Sometimes I might sigh because I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying.
Right.
But it's not because your opinion's invalid.
Right.
Everyone's opinion on things that are subjective, graphics are subjective.
Right.
What makes a good game is completely subjective. Like, these are subjective things we talked about today. Like, is Kirby in the Forgotten Land, does it look amazing? To me, might not to you, and that's your correct opinion. Mm-hmm. Because everything is subjective when it comes to this stuff. Video games is a very subjective medium. So I got to be more conscious of maybe just leaving things alone, even if it bothers me a little because I disagree. Because you know what? It's okay to disagree, but I know it comes off kind of asshole-ish when I'm not intending it to be, guys. You guys are all welcome to have your opinions, but I do want to hear those alternative opinions down in the comments on this. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please, at least check out Turbo Shot.
Yeah. No,
on your Switch or whatever. Like, just
awesome.
download it, check it out. It's free. If you don't enjoy it, dump it. It's cool. I'm not gonna, force you to play something. You don't have to. But I do want to thank the developers of the game so much for sponsoring this episode of the Nintendo Prime Podcast. Hopefully for one of many sponsorships of the podcast moving forward. So, all right, you guys can catch our podcast anywhere podcasts are heard. Audio versions will be up on pretty much everything, and eventually, potentially on the radio.
Whoa.
Breaking news.
Whoa.
We are in current negotiations to get the Nintendo Prime Podcast on XM Radio. So,
holy crud.
Stay tuned for that. It won't be live.
Well, yeah.
Well, you can do live, but that's not what we won't be live. So we definitely have to have our shit together for that, right? We're gonna get gamers to listen to us on XM Radio.
Yeah, right. Oh boy.
We gotta have our shit together.
Well, at least we can swear on XM Radio.
Fucking right. You're fucking A right, baby. All right. Well, you guys can check out Eric Moore on Twitter at
Emo8790.
There you go. Follow me on Twitter at Ninty Prime, Nity Prime. Everything else is either Nintendo Prime or Nintendo_Prime or Nintendo Prime put together, except on Twitch where it's Nintendo Prime TV, I think. Yeah, Nintendo Prime TV. Pretty much all you ever see me over there is streaming Madden League games. I don't really use it for anything else, but you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to go subscribe, by the way, to our podcast channel.
Yes.
There is a link down in the description for that, or at least there should be. And if there's not, shame on myself. If you're watching this live, sorry about that. Just go to the main channel, and it's actually the channel is featured. So you should be able to find it through that as well. You guys are awesome. And hey, we'll catch you next week.
Later.
Peace out.